Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. This message is a warning and a reminder for any surviving Jedi. Trust in the Force.
They've outgrown their age of rebellion, dulled the Empire's edge, defeated Imperial generals and the Pirate Queen's dredge. They've been soldiers and scoundrels, what's there left to be? How about lost acolytes looking for their force and destiny? There's a seer, hermit, investigator, and teacher. Better watch your back or a vibro ring's gonna reach you. Will this team find the light or will darkness win the day? Find out with the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Previously on Heroes of the Hydian Way, Kesh, Hillary, Koba, and Skip took upon themselves the quest to restore Soldier Ward's holocron. After finding the first crystal in Arbaween, they landed on Cato Nemoidia to delve into the war-torn history of the city of Jura. Divided quite literally into light and dark, the city lives with a shadow hanging below, and it's into this shadow that the heroes must go once more. Ward was last seen at the palace, fighting until forced to flee. What will they find when they trace his steps? Answers? The next crystal? Or more of the death and decay wrought by violence? Find out this week as they go once more under the bridge.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Fantasy Flight Games' Force and Destiny system. We're using the Chronicles of the Gatekeeper adventure as developed by Tim Cox and Max Brook. This is Act 2, Episode 22. And I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure.
I'm Koba, the Sentinel investigator / Sheehan expert. And what I've learned recently is that tapping into the dark side is totally fine. You still get more moral, even if you go deep. So I'm going to do a lot of dark side stuff from now on. Want to work my way to Paragon.
I have questions about that plan, Koba. And concerns. Many of them. But I'm Hillary.
It doesn't sound like it makes sense, but that's what the evidence shows so far.
I believe if we're playing a little number game, I did go down. So, going lower is an option. As a sage teacher, I feel I should point that out to you. It is part of my implied position.
Yeah, but you're so nice.
Should I not be?
I mean, the Force is clearly telling us that being nice is bad.
Oh, I see. It's like when my children would declare opposite day.
Yeah, but all the time. And an intrinsic rule of the universe. We should just be, periodically punching random bystanders.
I can do that.
Good.
I'm Kesh, the Trandoshan Mystic Seer, and my lesson was that I can be really good and not use my anger, but my number still goes down, and that makes me angry. And then, I'm not sure how this is supposed to work.
Well, I'm Skip. Same old Kalaren Seeker Hermit. Nothing's changed for me. I don't understand. You all keep saying I'm the protagonist, but if the protagonist is having absolutely zero character growth, then I can't be the protagonist. The protagonist clearly is Koba at this point. No?
I don't think I can argue your point.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why there's always the saxophone.
I think if we're really being honest with ourselves, I'm just comedy relief. Which I'm okay with.
Maybe you're the plucky sidekick.
Isn't that comedy relief?
Not always. You could be there for dramatic tension at times.
Although, honestly, Hillary, I think if anyone is going to be described with the word plucky, it's probably you.
Well, that's changing, because apparently I'm not supposed to be nice.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
To learn more about our heroes, we get one to ask another a question, and it is now Hillary's turn.
So, Skip.
Yeah, still here, still confused.
Well, you're far from alone, my friend. Now, you have recently C immediately prior to this particular portion of the conversation, declared that you were not the protagonist.
Mhm.
And that makes Koba the protagonist, apparently. But,
I mean, honestly, have you ever even seen Koba?
yes, he's standing right there.
Yeah.
Hillary waves.
Koba uses misdirect to become invisible to Koba.
Or he was standing there. Anyway, that's not the point. If you were telling the story of our adventure, how would it go?
Oh. All right. So, not all that long time ago, in a planet all but not that far from here, really, we were at a campfire. And we'd really zoom in on all the good food that we were eating, because, campfires are just such a great place to be friends and be cozy. And then we'd have a lot of really fancy jump cuts and definitely a lot of lens flare when we get to the vision we saw of that strange lady getting murdered. Although, wait, are you allowed to have lens flares when somebody's getting murdered?
I don't see why not.
It would be really, really actiony and adventure-y, and we'd really have to put in a whole lot more explosions than actually happen. Have we ever really even had that many good explosions? I don't know. I feel like I clearly learned my view of the universe from holovids. And, we're not quite at the level of epic adventure that the holovids have promised me. So, that's the way it would be.
Plenty of time for explosions yet, my friend.
Explosions, lens flare, jump cuts. Oh, and really, really cool and pretty famous people that play all of us.
Now that is a conversation I would like to have.
Maybe instead of everything just descending into saxophone when Koba starts to monologue, we have saxophone ghost, like a force ghost who plays a saxophone that just follows Koba around. And then we have to figure out why there's a saxophone ghost. There's a lot to explore there.
I think you also have a lot to explore, my friend.
Well, I don't have a saxophone ghost.
Did Hillary just suggest Skip needs therapy?
Skip needs therapy.
I mean,
therapy's not bad for anybody.
The camera picks up, taking a look between these two tall rock walls, and slowly pans up, and you start to see little bits dropping. Looks up a little more, and you see what looks to be a true palace hanging from the bottom of a bridge going between two pillars that form an arch at the top. It looks impressively ornate. The outside of it looks to be gold. While it looks amazingly ornate, the entire palace looks like it has a lot of the Duracrete that went into building it has been blasted at. There's almost no single line on the outside for the outside walls that doesn't have at least one turbo laser strike on it, with the pit and the charring and all that. The camera zooms in. It starts moving up and to the left, and as it does, on a building close by, it focuses in on a landing pad that has a open top land speeder sitting there, and the boot of the land speeder is open, showing the hover crate that Hillary had loaded in at least a day ago. We find our four heroes and our little Sarfin standing around, looking at the land speeder with a look of bewilderment, as there had been something very different sitting there just a few moments ago.
By the way, listeners, our destiny pool for this session are 3 light side points and 3 dark side points. Okay, well, the speeder change is a bit troubling, but not going to dwell on that because we're kind of on the clock.
Any chance we can just take the speeder across this massive gap of nothing?
Is there anywhere... It depends. Are we concerned about being able to return the speeder, or using it to get out of here?
I suppose a method of egress would be a prudent thing to maintain.
Okay, so we're on a landing pad, and the palace is across a big gap.
I'm expecting that the palace itself starts off pretty much at any of the skyscrapers there at the base, that you can enter this in from the base of this and make it into like the foreyard or the courtyard of the castle, of the palace. This being a giant skyscraper of a palace, like it is truly a fantastical palace. So they had been running the government of Catonemoidia out of this building. There had been all the business offices and all that sort of stuff, plus the other businessy type services out of the building. You've got the base where it's like the ceremonial way in, but then you've also got a bunch of sky bridges going from other buildings into it. It looks like down a level from where you are, there's a bridge that is going to go in about midway into the palace. In fact, you do see a sign that is in basic and Nemoidian saying Sankar Palace down one level this way. Like, and it's even got the arrow that goes in a downward 45, implying that follow the arrow and you might find stairs.
Why don't we just take these stairs and the bridge?
Oh, because stairs treated us so nicely last time we were in a skyscraper.
Would you prefer to jump?
Hillary shoots you a nasty look.
Cash is going to start moving, leaning heavily on her staff, following the arrow.
Koba follows.
Hillary will follow
Yeah.
and grumble.
As you're walking across, you see that normally the steel roof of the sky bridge changes out for transparent steel fairly early on. It's still enclosed, but the only place that has a visible surface that doesn't have transparent steel that you can look through is the floor of this. And they're not mean in putting like transparent steel on the floor. That's just mean. Mildly cool, but mean.
You might want to keep your eyes forward, Hillary.
Hillary is following Kesh, staring resolvedly at the back of her robe. Actually, no, he's actually just staring at her feet. Because he's looking down so that he's focusing on the thing that they can see.
And for those of you who are looking, before you, the Sankar Palace plunges downwards into the mist. As one of Jorah's tallest ventral buildings, it descends further below the bridge foundation than do the surrounding structures. Unnervingly, its condition is decrepit. Massive holes in the structure show where it was bombarded decades ago, and the occasional Krehak emerges from a smashed window. You feel as though you can sense a dark cloud still lingering in the lowest levels, a memory of a great tragedy.
How long is this bridge?
About a block? Let's call it 300 yards.
Too long, one way or the other. It's too long.
Yeah.
Once they reach a certain point where the far end seems closer than the back end, Hillary will actually ooch his way around Kesh and bolt.
Hillary, it's probably not a good idea to run ahead.
Gone.
Would one of you mind, never mind. Cash will try to speed up a little bit, but doesn't seem to be moving very quickly.
As you approach the building itself, you can see that the blast doors had attempted to close, but they seem to have been stopped before they had been able to fully close. They're the Trade Federation style, because this is the Trade Federation world. It looks like two came down like a foot from top and bottom, and from the side they moved in like 2 to 3 feet, leaving a rectangle there where you can absolutely get through, but you can't just like roll in and out.
Hillary will dive through. The roll will happen on the other side.
Cash will fairly slowly try to contort herself in such a way that she can step through or climb through, depending on how high up it is.
Does it look like the door has any power?
I'm going to go with it doesn't look like it has any power. Right now, it looks like the door and the controls for it are completely black.
Doesn't look like anything has any power.
Yes, there are stuff on the inside that does look like it has power, but it looks somewhat spotty. Like, you can see flickering of some lights inside, but it doesn't look like the interior is lit up like you'd expect a Nemoidian building to be. For any of the pot lights, like 1 in 5 are flickering. Maybe a column is lit up here and there.
Mm-hmm. A couple just concerned to see if it looks like there's a maintenance access panel or something to the door, just to see if maybe he can hotwire it open, but he's not going to spend a lot of time doing that, rather than just let the larger members of the party kind of just work out how they're getting through.
All right.
I suppose I'm a larger member of the party, but I'm also, just like a scrawny little thing, so...
Yeah, I guess Kova's really mostly looking to see if there's anything he can do to make it easier on Kesh, mainly.
Kesh is just trying to move as best as she can here. She's not looking for us to take too much time if we don't have to.
We're not talking a hallway-style door and blast door. We're talking like a fairly large one that if you were so inclined and a bit of a daredevil, you could probably drive a car through. Like, okay. It's not small. So it being, like, it looks like they tried to close the door, but it looks like it was deactivated before anyone could get it to fully close. In that case, it would be the clones were able to make their way in. And you do see some discarded clone trooper armor.
Is that to say the door really isn't an actual obstacle?
No, it's more of a flavor thing.
Okay, then never mind.
Inside, you can see the results of pretty heavy firefighting. You can see where there's the tan-colored B1 droids, the darker-colored and slightly more Nemesis commando droids. You can even see a couple super battle droids and destroyer droids in pieces, and you can see a lot of clone troopers also had died here as well. That fighting in this palace seems to have been very, very intense.
Koba's going to poke around among the bodies / debris just to see if there's any weapons or anything left behind that might be useful. I think in particular explosives like grenades.
Oh, I was thinking vibro rings, but yeah, your idea makes a lot more sense.
If somebody, if we find some corpse of some battle droid that throws vibro rings, great, but...
I mean, clone troopers have been known to carry vibro rings before.
So I've heard.
Yep.
Koba's not going to turn it down.
But explosives are what I'm really looking for.
Could I get a average perception roll in that case?
Yep.
Feels like I should get you to roll instead of just giving you stuff.
You are closest to scared.
Is there a place Hillary could have sat down, like a bench or something?
Yeah.
Because I think once he dove through, saw he was surrounded by remnants of war once again, he did the thing where he found a bench and tried to pose nonchalantly. But everybody, because they're used to traveling with him, just kind of looked and said, yep, nope, he's stressed out again. He's got that really weak kind of sickly grin, panting slightly.
On my perception roll, I got 6 successes and 1 advantage.
All right, in that case, I go with, seems like you should be able to get like an ion grenade and a frag grenade or 2.
Sounds good. Kova pockets those things. And hopes they're still functional after 20 years.
Okay, that's fair.
Don't know what the shelf life is on either a separatist or Republic issue grenade.
Well, the ion grenade would absolutely be a Republic grenade.
Yeah, that would be a Republic one for sure. The frag grenades could kind of go either way.
Yep. This is also a palace and a place of business, and at one point this was the central building of Cato Nemoidia. It's got little alcoves that people can go in and talk in and all that sort of stuff. Deeper into the alcove, all nice and fine. Right at the edge of the alcove, a lot of blaster fire happened. Like people were using it for cover. It's a decent place to at least, you say you wanted to, stop and try and patch up injuries a bit more. This would be a pretty good place to do it.
Well, I'm glad you lot could join me. Isn't it a lovely place to get together?
Yeah, just lovely.
You're not usually so sweaty.
Air pressure. It's different. It's different here. It makes me sweaty. And Cash, why don't you come sit with me for a moment? We had talked about making you feel a little better before we got too much farther.
I guess we don't know either way whether Alina's sweat.
Yeah, I almost made a comment about it.
We glisten.
Do we want to take the time to do that?
Sit down now.
We're on the clock, Hillary.
Yes, and if you die, the clock will be accelerated now, won't it?
That doesn't sound so bad to me at this point.
The dying?
Never mind.
Give me 3 minutes, Koba, and then we'll go back to counting.
Okay, just make it very, very quick. Kesh will sit down. She's not bothering to remove her armor or anything of that nature right now. Just
Do you
make
have
Hillary
crits?
work around it. I do. I have a crit, and I have 11 wounds of my 15.
What is your crit?
It is a average.
So that is two
Two
purples? Okay. Just double checking. Okay, and you have
Yeah,
11
it's not
wounds.
affecting me besides just being a crit that's hanging around.
Yeah, but I didn't take the heal thing that takes away wound or crits, so I'm going to start with the healing.
Okay.
I'm going to dig around in this little collection of healing items that I've stolen from the ship that we also stole.
So do we not have a real med pack?
I think you did.
We don't, do we?
Yeah,
Okay, so
it's just Hillary is not doing well, okay?
okay. Like Hillary's injured? Or just Hillary's losing it?
Hillary is distraught.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So he's humming nervously to himself, and at one point he makes you hold your arm up so that he can kind of work around where the armor plate ends and kind of just...
Actually, primarily this would be on her head.
Oh, on the head? Oh, in that case, he makes you sit on the floor.
Because this was the slightly... this is
Oh, right,
the
when you
dazed
got
one.
bashed into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is actually when she got shot.
Oh my goodness.
You got shot in the head?
She got shot, and it kind of, the way I described it is it sort of
boy.
ricocheted near her head as why she was disoriented for the rest of the fight.
All right, no, yeah, so he made you come over, he had you sit on the bench, and then he went to start kind of tending where the tatters of the robe were, and you're like, no, it's my head, bro. And he's like, sit on the ground.
Skip's gonna have to help me back up again.
That's perfectly fine. Actually, Skip, come here for a second.
Mhm.
The plants that you stole from our since deceased friend,
Who told you?
I watched you do it.
Well,
I
that was really
literally-
smart of me, huh?
Came and... May I have one of the leaves, please?
Of course you can. That's why I take things, because I know none of you think to take anything, and it's very useful later. Here.
Thank you.
Shoves you a pile of the leaves.
He just takes one or two and kind of mushes them up and makes them into like a little bit of a salve, and he places a circular kind of semi-adhesive bandage over it, over the wound. And for those who do not recall it, they were colto plants.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a vaguely healing, less awesome than Bacta item. So that was for flavor. That didn't do anything to the roll, but it was a success, a threat, and a triumph.
Can I feel that the threat should be a strain to Hillary on account of how Hillary's being portrayed at the moment?
That's fine. Hillary's going to take a nap soon. Success means the
Crit is gone.
crit is gone.
What does the triumph mean?
Excellent question.
I don't know how that should work on this. Can I heal wounds too? Can I give her an upgrade to her next something?
I mean, that would sort of be an either-or kind of thing, but if I remember right, it can be used to heal 3 wounds.
Kesh would happily take that.
Okay, so we'll say that that's what the Colto ends up doing, is like I have Skip come over and that kind of suffuses into the system, and you feel You feel a bit brighter now. Like perkier, not like more intelligent.
Well, yeah.
Um.
Thank you.
Oh, don't
right,
you
are we
dare
done?
try to get up yet. Stay.
What?
Sit. Stay.
Now for a patented scalp massage?
I was actually thinking a shoulder rub, but one way or the other.
Now we're probably dealing with the getting thrown into the wall.
All right, so Hillary is gonna make her stay and kind of try and figure out, do the thing where you're kind of poking at knots in the muscles and just generally kind of heal her with the magic of the Force.
Okay. And
That's 2 light side and 2 dark side rolled.
okay.
Control gives me ranks in medicine. So that's going to be, I can spend the 2 light side for 2 wounds healed. No.
You can spend 1 for number of wounds equal to intellect plus number of ranks in medicine for the control upgrade that you have. That leaves you 1 light side and 2 dark side that you can use.
So I can heal you for 5 without using the dark side.
That will put her looking pretty good. So not fully healed, but in pretty good condition at that point.
How close are you to being healed?
I am 3 off. And I'm trying to double check here. I feel like I remember something about this counts as like a stim pack use for the day,
It does,
right?
yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But it doesn't have the diminishing effects of a stim pack.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I'm just double checking just to keep myself honest, because I might hit my stim pack limit for the day.
So do I take, if I flip a point, do I take strain for the things that I would use?
Yes.
Okay. So I would take 2 strain if I use both.
I will say, given it sounds like you're pretty dire on strain, I don't think it's that important.
I'm still actually going to do it because I have the... Oh no, that's if I'm using harm, never mind. I'm not harming you, I'm very pointedly not harming you.
Yeah, I am, again, I'm okay being at 3 wounds. That's a lot better than being at 15.
Yep.
So.
Have a couple strain back.
It is me, so I would recover 5 strain. Okay, Gesh is looking pretty good. Still not topped off on strain, but great shape.
Yeah, there's a reason why I kept the core book kicking around.
I thank you for that guidance. That was very helpful. You feel his hands are shaking a little, but, after a few moments, you feel better. And Hillary hops down and gestures to Skip to help you up, because Skip is apparently your attendant. And Hillary looks over to Koba and says, "There. Did that take too long? Now hopefully we will die less quickly and get out of this dismal, awful, horrible, no good palace."
Well, was I the only one that beat up?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
that beat up, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew there were other injuries, but
I was about to say, Skip said something about stim packing.
okay.
Yeah, I had given myself 1 stim pack.
All right, are we ready to continue now?
I mean, no, but I guess we have to.
I mean, you could always go turn yourself into the Imperials if you trust their justice. Kesh smiles down at Hillary, pats the top of Hillary's head for a moment, and then we'll start moving forward.
You get a very dirty look for that statement.
As you're walking in, the question I really should be asking is, how are you intending to find where you're needing to go in here? Well, no, Zell would have told you pretty much where it is, and you're just trying to find a way there.
I guess. I'm not sure. I don't think I have a note here about where in the palace it is.
It would have been at a meeting place.
Yeah.
I believe a largish meeting place from the sound of the battle that was subsequent. So like a hall, a grand hall maybe?
Yeah, so would Zell have given us specifics, or do we got to search this place a little bit?
I'm thinking search the place a little bit.
Okay, so let's think about this. This is the Undercity, right? So the lower you are, it's the more important, right? It's like upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like if you have a building, usually you'll have important stuff up on the higher floors. offices, conference rooms, things of that nature. So in this case, it would be lower, right? Because we're flipped.
That kind of makes sense.
It makes as much sense as anything else going on in this horrible place.
Okay, so then we go down to start.
It's all downstairs from here.
That's good. My knees are thankful for that.
Maybe we should have brought the hover chest and you could have ridden it. What's Goba up to?
Following along, but mostly kind of keeping an eye out for any enemies or other dangerous stuff.
I'm willing to say that Hillary is actually paying very close attention to how Koba's moving, because while Koba did get horribly zapped the one time in the booby trap tower, he kind of proved invaluable in other contexts. So, we've always known that Koba was good at what he did, but then we really got to see it kind of in action with you identifying all those traps. So, Hillary's keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, Koba is probably carrying himself obviously a bit like he's hurting, but he doesn't have any crits or anything, so otherwise is just ready for some of these droids to still be active like we saw the last time we were in the Undercity, or for, the Empire to catch up to us, etc. He might be pinging sense periodically, but because it can still only go out to short range, probably not a ton.
It also won't detect droids, so...
Right.
And you are seeing a fair amount of droids. In fact, as you're walking around, you're starting to see a bit of a disturbing mix. Because you come in about the mid-range of the building, there had been a mix of B1s and B2s, and every now and then a destroyer droid. Now, you are still seeing groups of B2s that are in pieces. You are starting to see some BX commando droids in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a bit more effective than the B1s. Okay, for this, I am wanting to get a 1 red, 1 purple perception check. It sounds like Hillary would be in a position to help, and what's Skip up to? Would Skip be looking around for traps and whatnot?
Skip would try to help with that, but Skip is not the most perceptive being in that regard. Skip is more of a helper for perception things.
Fair.
To fully answer your question, I need to ask a question.
Yep.
Is any of this that we're seeing starting to ping Skip's vision memory?
Okay, for that, I would like to get a easy, so 1 purple, actually in this case it would be a 1 red vigilance check off of Skip.
Vigilance, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, vigilance is kind of the do I remember
Yeah.
/ pick
Yeah,
up
I
on
got
instant
4
kind of thing.
successes and an advantage.
That's what happens when the red doesn't show up, Dig.
Yeah, super didn't.
The style of building is absolutely the one that you remember from your Force Vision.
Okay. Then in that case, what Skip is doing is definitely looking around and kind of screwing up their face in this trying to remember more details sort of thing, and just trying to be helpful.
So what can you get on that one, Brandon?
So on the perception, Koba's looking at 5 successes, 1 advantage, and 1 triumph.
As you're going through, you're seeing... So the very first thing that you run across is a laser trip mine that you're able to deactivate and point out to everyone. That could have been kind of nasty. As you're going through, you're seeing... It's not the same kind of thing as what was in Zell's apartment building. Like, in Zell's apartment building, all the traps were built in, very hidden. You pass one place that actually would have been a deadfall of all things. There's even one where it was a hole going down to the next floor that someone had tossed a carpet over that had started to sag in the middle. As you're going through, you're spotting these and pointing them out. You're able to pass through without triggering any of the traps or accidentally falling prey to one. Also, unlike Zell's place, is every single one of these is a deadly trap. So then you also have an advantage and a triumph.
Yeah, I think the advantage I'm just going to use to get rid of strain, because I do have a few points of strain.
Fair.
To whittle away, because I will need that later if things get exciting. So I don't see any enemies or active threats from the roll, right?
At the moment, no, you aren't. You're too far away from it.
Does anybody have any thoughts about something that we might find that would be handy? Whether it's gear that would logically be left behind or something like that?
Would a data slate from the days of yore have power? Like something that could take us to where we need to go or get us closer?
There's a chance it would. It depends.
Because there's a peace delegation here, and then obviously a subsequent fight. Somebody might be carrying that information for where that meeting was to take place.
Like a name tag with a, if found wandering, please return to Hall B?
Well, like an officer might have orders in terms of like protecting a specific area or
a maitre d' of guards.
Getting acknowledgement.
Skip is just gonna interrupt all of you. Key codes. If we can find any door key codes, or if, because we could get into a situation where we can't open a door or something. No reason.
That's another good idea. It could be like a code cylinder or something like that.
Yeah, can we find I guess someone who looks official, a body that looks official, and who may have security codes and /or map information?
Yes.
Possibly like the compass for the dungeon so that we can see where all the chests and keys are hidden?
No, you can't find the compass, but you can find the map. I mean, it's one triumph. You can't find both.
It's okay. I bet it's in the next room.
This looks to have at one point been a lieutenant commander battle droid. A commander battle droid that is about lieutenant rank. They have a thing clamped onto their left arm that has what looks to be a holo projector on it, and even a place where you could slide in 3 command cylinders. There is 1 command cylinder in it, and as you take a look, as you pull up the holo projector that's on it, it shows a map of the lower levels of the palace, including a notation on it of this is the mist line, and below there. And then at the very bottom, it looks to be almost a bowl. How some palaces have those beautiful giant domes over parts of their courtyard. This one has a dome going down, where it's a amphitheater. You can see the ranks of it. You can see how some of it goes into balconies type things, and then you can look down. If you're to come to a concert, this would be an amazing venue for it. As you're taking a look at the holomap that this droid had, you can see 3 spots in it where it was defend this point where it was destroyed, and then a couple other fallback points, the last of which is at a what looks to be possible armory type place, or a very easily defendable place near this giant amphitheater. I'm figuring that as you're looking at this, the advantage from Skip's roll pings that amphitheater looks a lot like what Skip remembers.
This looks promising.
No, let's get moving.
Agreed.
Skip just kind of stares at it and doesn't initially say anything or make any movements to follow any of you.
Skip? We're going.
We sure are. All right.
Yeah. Come on.
Coming.
Hillary will pat your hip reassuringly. It's okay to be scared. It's part of life.
Oh, I'm not scared.
Then what are you?
Well, I'm a Kalaran, and I'm a fun guy. Not
Cub was
Skip.
going to use sense on Skip.
You're clearly not a fungus person, Skip.
Ooh, okay. You just get like a feeling of what emotions Skip is feeling?
Yeah, so I'm only going to use one white pip. I rolled one white and one dark. No reason to use the dark here.
All right.
So yeah, I get the current emotional state. Is all I get.
Current emotional state of Skip is anxiety, apprehension, and a little bit of guilt that they are not as prepared for this as they thought they might have been. If this was a real vision, they really wished it was the bunny one.
Okay. Kobo wouldn't get all that end context there, but certainly the
No,
anxiety
I know.
and guilt.
I can't not talk too much. I'm
Yeah.
me.
I was just clarifying so that what I say next is not makes sense, I guess, within character as far as what Koba knows versus what I know. You might not be afraid, but you're anxious about something and guilty. What did you do?
I didn't do.
Skip.
What did you just do?
I can read people. What's wrong?
Do any of you trust me?
Yes?
Yes.
Koba crosses his arms or his legs. Crosses whichever set. I guess his legs in this case because he'd be standing on his hands.
Well,
Can you try to trust me in the next maybe little while? Just give it a go.
what is it?
I don't want to tell you because I don't know how any of this stuff works. If you see something in a vision and then it might not come true, or it might come true worse, or if I tell you, then maybe you'll all try to overcompensate and then it'll just go even more bad than it went in my vision. And, it's all very complicated. And so, I just kind of hope that maybe if anything happens and I seem to maybe know what's going on, maybe try to trust me a little bit.
Okay.
Fine, but the moment that we need to know more, tell us.
Well, it's all really hazy. I've just been here before.
We've all seen things that we don't necessarily know how to parse recently.
It's not about not. Skip is actively getting annoyed. I don't really want to tell any of you exactly because the entire problem is with all of you anyway. So
Skip. It's fine. Just
listen to me when I ask you to later, all right?
okay.
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 Can we move forward now?
Let's keep moving.
And we move.
Oh, gosh.
So it takes you a little bit of time to descend the stairs going down. The turbo lifts are not just out of power, they have been actively turned off. Not just turned off, the turbo lift tubes have been damaged so that no, there is not a way for people to come up and down in them. So you could either free climb those or go down the stairs, which there are definitely stairs. And we're talking fairly large, somewhat opulent stairwells. You can see all the way down. It's kind of unnerving if you can see over the hand railing, which there is hand railing, because, well, there's a lot of older business people that may need it. Handrails, they're amazing.
Yes, please.
Especially you're talking about Cash, right?
Yes, Kesh. Kesh is exactly the person I was thinking of.
Are they solid walls or are they legit banisters with posts?
About waist high, a little higher than waist high walls that open up into the central corridor. If you want to, you could lean over and look, but you have to go out of your way to do it, unless you're walking right up against it.
Nope.
And you're tall enough to.
Nope. Not looking down. Well, looking down at my feet, but not looking down at the interminable fall that awaits us.
Someone were to look, you'd actually see most of a stained glass style fixture at the bottom, with a couple spots that have been broken out. As you get closer and closer, you now turn into a hallway. And what's the walking order, just so that I'm describing this correctly?
Particularly after the conversation with Skip, Koba is probably trying to take the lead, up to and including simply moving a little faster than Kesh can necessarily keep up with, since Kesh seems like the person who would most likely try to contest Koba for point.
Yeah, given we're worried about traps and things like that, Kesh actually doesn't compete that much with you. I think she'll take up the rear guard position for the moment, since we're not quite sure, where threats might come from.
As you're going through, Koba goes through the door onto the landing that you should be getting off the stairs at. Going through the door into the main hallway, Skip goes, Hillary goes, Kesh goes through, and then Kesh sees something weird. And by weird, I mean as soon as Kesh steps through the door, Kesh now seems to be transported to a different planet. Mm-hmm. At least as far as Kesh can tell.
Okay.
Kesh is now seeing something absolutely red with these hundreds of meters tall statues.
So like before?
Somewhat like before, yes. In the sky, there's pink clouds on an orange sky. Lightning is going between clouds. You get the feeling of a very ill presence.
Well, don't just hide in the shadows. Show yourself.
This relatively tall human with a long, scraggly beard, almost pure gray, with slight flecks of black in it, steps out, holding on to what looks to be a cane. Ooh, you are on the path. No, this is not good. You are on the path. The path is bad. The path will lead to death.
Does his voice or face seem familiar?
It seems to be from that weird 4C type place in the lift as you're coming back from the Undercity at that one time.
What was that guy's name? Did we get a name?
Jerkface McGee.
He's not actually Cyboth, but we used him as a reference.
Yeah.
Did he have a name?
I don't think he actually did get a name.
Okay. You again.
Again? No. Oh, no. No. Go before things get worse.
We're pressing forward. We have a mission to complete. And we can't let Ward's knowledge fall into the wrong hands. So, we can't abandon it. If there's something more productive you can tell us about what's about to happen or what dangers lie ahead, I will listen. But we can't stop.
No, stay away. And with that, he'll put out his hand, open. It's somewhat reminiscent of when you've used Unleash, but then all of a sudden, you feel like you're pushed back. There you are standing in the hallway behind the other three.
Did that all happen in an instant for them, or did they Kesh whirl around and talk to herself for a few seconds?
I'm gonna go with Kesh was talking to herself.
You want to tell us what that was about?
Remember the old human we saw a vision of in the turbo lift?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to warn, I guess, me in particular away.
All right. Hillary, you have anything you want to get off your chest?
No, in fact, I'm feeling rather left out. I mean, I could always start talking to myself, but I don't think that would help.
Kesh locks eyes with Skip for a moment, as the other person who is burdened by some degree of warnings or portents.
You can catch their eye for a moment, but they keep flicking their gaze back and forth between all of you.
Then Kesh will look forward again. All right. I say the next vision gets Koba or Hillary.
Koba can have it, I'll be fine. And what does the room we're in look like?
The hallway that you're in, it's Star Wars large. Like, there's large, there's pretty large, there's really large, then there's Star Wars large. Like, we're talking movie large, where everything is gigantic. Like, prequels large. The prequels, where you could have, like, a 5-lane highway on either side as people are walking down this hallway.
Why is this room all green and just filled with, like, blocks?
The walls are a muted gold. Not so much brown, very much more yellow than that. It does look closer to a gold than really a brown. The lighting in it is also like yellow pot lights for the most of it that then seem to reflect off of the runners along the bottom of the walls. Like they bounce down and then into reflectors that seem to light up the entire place. There is a huge amount of battle scarring, and you can still see almost drifts of droids and clone troopers. That this is very much a hotly contested battlefield. It seemed better to just walk away and seal the place instead of clean up after. You can see along one side about what you'd figure is a story and a half high, a walkway that goes into other hallways. This seems to be a thoroughfare with like a second level that people can then look down on. And a couple overgrown planters with seats around. In its heyday, you're thinking that this would have looked truly, utterly spectacular. And even now, with all the damage, all the decay around it, it's still pretty impressive. I am needing a group perception check.
Is there a solid ground? Is all of this open to the mists below visually?
It's almost entire... No, not even almost. The ceiling looks to be a mosaic of different marble types interlaced together, not really creating a picture or anything, but just looking very aesthetically pleasing. The ground itself, again, looks like marble. It looks solid. Like it's an interior hallway, and it definitely looks very, very solid.
Okay, so it is an interior overlay.
It is a very interior place.
You said group perception?
Yeah, I'm going to end this episode on a group perception check.
I bring a yellow and a green to the table.
I bring 2 yellow, which only ties Koba's skill ranks. So it's all you again.
Yeah, so a boost for Skip's ability, I believe, and then boosts for Kesh and Hillary.
So this is going to be a 3 red, 1 purple.
Ugh.
Okay. Since we've got... can somebody flip me a point?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Since we've got so many, and that's a pretty big badness pool.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Oh, dear.
I mean, okay. But still.
It's weird. Okay, so on a whole slew of dice, that perception check comes out to be 1 failure, 3 advantage, and a triumph. So it is a failure, but with quite a few positive things.
The 4 of you are surprised by a group of commando droids that drop down from one of the higher hallways. They're definitely commando droids. They're not the nice, happy tan of the B-1 battle droids. The front one of them says, "Stop, intruders," as the 5 of them drop down and do superhero landings.
Well,
time for another fight.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find 2 updates on Twitter at The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on Twitter at Deuterium Ice.
I'm on Twitter at Blue of the Kim.
I am still at Leslit GS.
And I'm at 12th Night. That's 12th and Night with a K.
And I'm at Ren Apollo.
And we are all at theheidiandway.com, where you can find previous episodes.
You can find more episodes at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And you can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
We're also on Facebook as The Heidi and Way, and you can holocom us at heroes at theheidiandway.com.
If you like what we do and you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/theheidiandway.
Or you can send the team some calf at ko-fi.com/theheidiandway. I'll stop here because I feel like Skip could monologue about the movie of our adventure for a good half hour. Nobody needs that.
I'm waiting for some dramatic music later.
That sounds like a Patreon reward tier.
Skip writes the script for the Heidi and Way Heroes, the movie. Part
I
1,
want
The
the
Reckoning.
Skip elevator pitch.
Lens flares. Sorry, I may have watched Star Trek Into Darkness last night. Lens flares.
He did. There's no may. He did do it.
You know,
Is that the,
I'm so sorry.
the not Wrath of Khan
it
one?
was so
Yeah.
long.
I mean, it's the not Wrath of Khan one in that it's the one that tries to be Wrath of Khan, but definitely isn't.
Yeah,
it's-
no. I like Star Trek, the first one of the three, and then I like Star Trek, the buddy action adventure, the third one.
Oh yeah, the Beyond is great. Into Darkness is like
Star Trek
I had
Imperious.
to watch
I
Into
think
Darkness
I might prefer to
get
watch
to Beyond.
Nemesis over it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Into Darkness is the
I
bottom of my list.
100%
Okay, good,
enjoyed
good.
Nemesis more than Into Darkness.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not just me.
Rest in control once again.
Yeah.
Go.
No,
Yeah.
Into Darkness is
Sorry,
absolutely
sorry.
at the bottom.
There's still 5.
Nope. More watchable.
Really isn't.
What?
Question.
Yo. Or for whom, I guess.
Do you have the control upgrade that is for the heal if no dark side generated are used? You heal strain as well?
If no dark side generated, target heals strain equal to wounds healed.
Yeah.
But the 2 dark sides were generated, so I thought that didn't count.
It's
But you didn't spend
taking a
them.
look in the actual book. The full text is if no dark side generated are used, you then do that.
Have a couple strain back.
Well, it's you.
Which is
It's
equal
you,
to the
right?
amount of wounds healed.
No, it's the
that was
target.
what, 5?
Oh, it is me. So I would recover 5 strain.
Yar.
Okay, Gesh is looking pretty good. Still not topped off on strain, but great shape.
Oh, I'm not scared.
Then what are you?
Well, I'm a Claren Secret
Clarence
Hermit.
Secret.
No,
Oh,
that's not
my
what I'm saying.
goodness.
Well, I'm a Claren, and I'm a fun guy.